What's going on, everybody? Max here. So we've been doing this jewel turn-in program at the vape shop. It's sparked a lot of people asking me about, all the different FDA regulations and what's going on with all that. And I'm gonna make a more detailed video because I don't want to get any of my facts wrong, and there are a lot of very specific things that we need to cover. But right now I'm just going to briefly go over it, just so you guys kind of have an understanding of what's going on in the vape industry right now. Back in August of 2016, the FDA's regulations went into effect. They released them before that, but basically they tier them so you have compliance dates that you have to meet. The first one was just stop selling to minors, stop making health claims, which not a big deal. The next one was you had to submit all of your, if you were a manufacturer, you had to register as a manufacturer with the FDA, and you had to submit all of your ingredients to them. So technically you weren't supposed, not technically, you weren't supposed to release any new products, any new vape products after August 8th of 2016. So all the salt nicks, stuff like that, it's technically a no-go. But they have started enforcement, but it's very minimal. Worst thing that's going to happen is originally, I think it was in 2022 that this was supposed to go down, and they moved it up, I think 2 years, or maybe it was just a year, to either next year or the year after. Like I said, I don't have this stuff right in front of me. I have too much stuff going on to memorize all of it, but I do have it all written down. Make a more detailed video on this later. But I'm pretty sure it's next year now. You have to submit a pre-market tobacco application, or PMTA, for every product that you manufacture. That means mods, tanks, coils, e-liquid. And that's not like, okay, pre-market tobacco application for e-liquid. No, it's each flavor in each nic strength, and it is ridiculously difficult. Luckily, what I did previously to this was I worked for a company called Product Technologies. It's actually my parents' company, where we did pharmaceutical compliance with the FDA, meaning, I don't want to mention some of our clients, but they were big pharmaceutical industry guys, and we would go in there and make sure that we'd read through the guidance to industry, or the whatever it was that they would release. We would basically translate that into English because they're next to impossible to understand, and then we'd go in there and we would make sure that they were all up to date and compliant and handle it for them. So hopefully I'll be able to do that with the vape industry. But the PMTA is a giant hurdle. It's very, very expensive. So that is happening next year. And unfortunately, what that's going to do on the business side of things, vape shops will have to shut down. On the harm reduction side of things, people are not going to have access to as many different options. And I personally think, and I know a lot of vapors, a lot of people agree with me, that it's going to drive people back to smoking. And they have several arguments, but the main one that has been brought to the forefront right now is flavors attract children. I think that is a valid argument. However, I know a ton of people that will not vape tobacco flavors. And if they do not have, and they're not kids, they range anywhere from like 20s to 80 years old. And they won't vape it because it doesn't taste good. And you can't make, here's what a lot of people don't understand. You can't make an e-liquid flavor taste like a cigarette. You can get close, but in my experience, if you're trying to replicate that cigarette taste, the closest you can get is to it tasting like you put the unlit cigarette in your mouth and are chewing on it, which is disgusting. There are pipe tobacco flavors, stuff like that. That's a different thing, but without these flavors, or if the FDA says you can only make tobacco flavors, these people are just gonna go back to smoking. And the argument that vaping will somehow lead to smoking is kind of ridiculous. Anybody that vapes doesn't want to smoke. Even smokers that have switched to vaping don't want to smoke anymore. Sure, there's people that dual use, but dual use is still harm reduction. You got the UK Royal College of Physicians saying it's 95% safer than smoking. They're prescribing it as a smoking cessation aid. They're saying, yeah, go buy it. It works. Because it does. It's 50% more effective, I think, is what it was. Don't quote me on that, but I know it is way more effective than any other type of smoking cessation aid. And smoking is the #1 reason people are dying. It's like, I don't even remember, it's a ton of people in the hundreds of thousands of people that die from it a year. Even the FDA said that if everybody that currently smoked would switch to vaping, there would be a substantial public health impact. Positive public health impact. I understand we got to protect the kids, we got to protect children from getting addicted to nicotine, but I don't think this is the right way to do it. Anytime we were told not to do something, we were teenagers. We did it, but it's just wrong. And I mean, I don't think that banning flavors is the way to go. I get that we don't want a whole another generation addicted to nicotine, but we got to balance the safety aspect of that with the public health impact of what would happen if we just took that off the market. That they're talking about removing these products from the market, but cigarettes aren't even mentioned. They have briefly discussed reducing the nicotine levels in cigarettes, which makes no sense to me because nicotine isn't even the harmful part. It's all the carcinogens and other stuff that are in it. Nicotine's one molecule away from caffeine. Same addictive properties almost. So that's stupid. All that's going to do is make you consume more of it to get the same level of nicotine that you previously wanted. Except for now you're going to be consuming more carcinogens with it as well. That makes total sense. It doesn't. It's stupid. And that wasn't even really, that was like, yeah, we might do that later, but man, those vape products, those gotta go. Right now. It's dumb. And yes, teen vaping and underage vaping is slightly on the rise. This whole epidemic is overblown, in my opinion. It's not an epidemic, in my opinion. So underage vaping is increasing slightly, but at the same time, what you're seeing is smoking numbers are going down. Now, this might just be me, but that seems like a good thing. Kids are gonna get their hands on shit that they're not supposed to. They always do, they always have. Okay, real quick, I was editing this and I realized that it just sounded like I was advocating for underage vaping. I'm not. If you let your kid vape, you need to stop. Kids should not have access to nicotine until they're 18, until they're an adult. Do not buy vaping shit for your kid. You are ruining the industry by doing that, and you are hurting currently addicted smokers. Stop your vape shops, which doesn't make sense. Vape shops have so much to lose by selling to underage kids. If we get caught with it, I mean, local jurisdiction here is 2 strikes and you're out, which means we get caught twice and we can't operate anymore. Now, gas stations and stuff don't really care that much because if they get caught, well, we can still sell gas, we can still sell drink, they could probably still sell cigarettes. So it's not as big of a deal to them. And honestly, if you look at the data from the FDA, the biggest violators of this was Walgreens. There was no vape shop, not even like the top 50 of them. It was ridiculous that we're getting blamed for it. You want to stop the underage problem? I'll tell you exactly how to do it. Ban direct-to-consumer online sales and enforce harsher penalties for these 18-year-olds that are in high school that are buying it for their friends. And if you really want to get crazy with it, you could say you can only sell vapor products inside of a vape shop. That right there will stop 90% of it. And the FDA has to know that. They have to. It's common sense. Now, I don't like government regulation, but what they're doing right now isn't gonna help. That would actually solve the problem. Right there. Guaranteed. No more direct-to-consumer online sales, harsher penalties for these 18-year-olds that sell to their high school friends, underage high school friends, and make sure that vape products are only sold in the vape shop. That last one is also going to prevent any sort of negligent handling of a vapor product. I know like 2 years ago, you probably saw a bunch of mods exploding. That's because whoever sold them that mod did not explain how to use it, okay? If you get a mech mod and you build too low of a resistance on it and your battery can't handle it, it's going to vent. That's how they work. But making sure those products are sold in stores where you're required to inform people about that, which we are here in Forsyth County, that seems like a good idea. So there's 2 problems solved. You're welcome. And it has a lot to do, in my opinion, with money. It has to do with tax money. Basically, states are losing revenue from tobacco tax they had planned on receiving. So they borrowed against it. California. Now they're getting hurt from that. Here's what's really messed up. So, FDA commissioner, before he left, Scott Gottlieb, he was a multimillionaire. He's a doctor, but he made his money in pharmaceuticals. He was big pharma, and he had a proposition before he left to raise the smoking age to 21. What he went on to say was that if you're under 21 and you're addicted to nicotine products, you need pills. Get you some Chantix. That'll help way better than vaping. Obvious cash grab is obvious. It's ridiculous that this is going on. So please get involved. Please come in. Please talk to us about it. We love to talk about this stuff. Please tell me or one of the guys you want to sit down, be on camera, do an interview, talk to everybody about how vaping has helped you. Please sign up with your local advocacy organization. GSFA is a great organization. They do a lot to help us here in Georgia. I know let me touch on that real quick. We're a member now. I recommend all vape shops become a member. Even if you can't afford it, call one of them. They'll work with you. But please advocate for it, because you're gonna. I know you see a lot of business owners on here like myself saying, please advocate, because in your head it's like, yeah, because they want to stay open. Well, yeah, I like my business. I would want to stay open, but bigger picture, advocate, because you're going to wind up saving lives for real. Smoking kills so many people, and this is such a huge opportunity to save so many lives, and it has the potential to just completely go away. So please advocate. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you guys next time. Oh, and don't worry, I'm still going to post videos of me blowing stuff up. Especially Jules.